Hi friends, let us try something new today. Welcome back to my channel Maths World of Passion. When I say a new thing, it need not be an expensive one. Here I am making use of these coconut shells to make beautiful home decor items. Now we all know that the coconut shell will have this hairy texture on them which can be removed using knife, scissors and ultimately it has to be polished neatly using the sandpaper so that it gives you a nice surface to paint and do any extra things that you want to decorate the shells. So ensure that you spend a good time in giving it a good finished look. This process is very important so that your final outcome of your home decor item would look beautiful. So do take time to do this. Now this is how it looks, and I've selected a few shells here based on my requirement of what I want to do. Now you don't have to keep these shells in the sun. You can normally dry them both inside and outside. Now here I'm making use of the molded clay, and I'm making a small couple of balls to make this art. Now these are the two shells that I've taken, and these two rings which actually I removed from one of the curtains which had become very old. Now with the help of a molded clay which I just made, I'm going to stick this ring inside that clay at the center of this shell. Now this is not a deep shell. I mean, it is not so deep, it is a little flat shell, and this is how you need to make this tea light holder. Basically I'm making a tea light holder, and there's a little uneven surface at the base of it which can be covered by adding elements. Now we all know the edge of the shell would be very rough, so I'm covering it up with again the molded clay and smoothing it with the help of water. Now the design part is all up to you. Here I'm keeping it very simple. You can either keep it plain or you can do something like what I'm doing. Now I'm going to again make use of the molded clay and make a rectangular base to actually keep the tea lights. To do all these crafts, you can also make use of wall putty, but since I had the molded clay, I'm making use of them. But the same can be done with the help of the wall putty as well. Ensure that you keep this base at the center of the shell so that when you place a tea light, it stays in the center and looks good. Now I'm adding a few elements here to cover up the uneven surface. Now this is how it looks. Allow this to dry completely, and then you can apply your desired color of acrylic paint. Now here I'm using the burnt sienna to color the backside of the shell, and for the inner part I'm going to use the golden acrylic color. Now to the edges which cannot be covered with the help of sponge dapper, you can use the painting brush. Again, the color that you want to use is all up to you how you want to decorate it, but here I'm keeping it very simple, and I'm using a little very light pastel colors to highlight these elements. I use the sky blue color here to color the butterflies, pink, purple and bottle green to color the other elements in this tea light holder. Now to hang these tea light holders, I'm using this black jute rope, but you can use any rope of any color, and this old bracelet which doesn't fit me anymore, so I'm going to use the golden beads in them and these pearls and a few other elements to decorate the string, which would add on to your good finished look of your tea light holder. So this is how it looks. Now to highlight the elements, I'm using this 3D outliner and also the golden acrylic dust to you have to take a little on your fingertips and just rub on these elements which you want to be highlighted, the flowers and the leaves and also the ring. So this is all done, and how it would look once I light a tea light in this, you would see towards the end of the video. Okay, now to make the Ganesha artifact, I'm taking two coconut shells here. Again, I'm making use of the molded clay here to cover the rough edges of the shell. Now the shell is not too deep, but it is pretty big in size in terms of its width, and you would need another shell which is a little deep but small in size. Now, since this is going to be the base for the decor item, you need to make this flat. So if there's any uneven surface, then you can cover it up with the help of the molded clay or even the wall putty, and then neatly flatten it so that it sits without being wobble on the flat surface. Now I'm taking a molded clay here and I'm going to fix this big disc on top of this smaller coconut shell. To make all this, please make use of Fevicol instead of hot glue gun, because for all these artworks I think Fevicol would be a good choice. Allow this to dry completely. In the meanwhile, we'll make some clay art. I've applied a little talcum powder and I've flattened it using a deodorant, an old deodorant roll, and then I'm making these leaves and flowers with the help of these clay cutters. Now here this clay cutting tool is something that you can, it's a one-time investment, which if you're into art and craft, you can buy this kit which has I think around 32 different designs in different shapes, which you can make use of whenever you do or create any such artwork. Okay, now this shell is completely dry. Now time to fix all these leaves and flowers on them. Now here I'm randomly placing them on the shells here, to cover up the uneven surface. Also it would help you out, and it's basically up to you how you want to decorate this entire shell. So yeah. So allow this to completely dry and then you can apply your desired acrylic color. Now what color you want to use is all up to you, but here I'm using the Persian blue, and with the help of a sponge dabber I covered up the inner part of it, and for the outer surface I'm making use of burnt sienna. Now cover up the edges by coloring them up with the help of any paintbrush, and the sponge dabber is better to use because the coconut shell would have a little rough texture, so with the brush it may not give you a finished look. So it's always preferable to use a sponge to paint the surface, because it will give you a very even texture. And now I'm coloring up the leaf and the flowers here, the leaves with the bottle green color and the flowers in the maroon color. After painting each of these surfaces, you need to give time for it to dry, otherwise it would not help you in giving that good finish to the product. Now here, once all this is completely dry, which would take around 2-3 hours, after that you can proceed to this procedure what I'm doing here. Now you can make use of the metallic wax, but as I said, I did not have a metallic wax, so I'm using the silver powder, and with the help of a fingertip, I'm just covering up the inner part of the surface. I'm just highlighting the leaves so that the veins are more bright and visible. If you can notice, the veins are so visible and it's looking so beautiful now, isn't it? Now I'm adding these beads to the center of these flowers. Now this is completely optional, you can skip this part. What happens is when you add such extra elements to your decor items, it would make it look very real, and nobody would believe it is made out of a coconut shell. They'll think that you've bought this from the market outside. So you can easily fake people and tell them, see, this is something that I purchased, but then the reality would be something that only you would know. So you can add these elements to make it look more beautiful, and also it's very easy to deceive people, correct? And when they get to know the reality and it's made of coconut shell, just imagine their reaction. You would be very proud of yourself and they would actually appreciate your talent. Okay, now here I'm adding this Ganesha at the center of this. This is something that is very special to me because I bought this from the Siddhivinayak temple when I had visited Bombay a couple of years back. Okay, now moving on to the final decor item. Here I'm making a organic bowl using this coconut shell. Now this is actually, to make this you have to have a deep coconut shell, which is also a little round on top of it, because otherwise it will not give you that good look. So here again the same thing, I'm covering up the rough surface on top with the help of the molded clay and smoothing it with the help of water. I'm making 2 of them, so you got to repeat this on both of them and allow it to dry completely. Now I'm making use of the same curtain rings here to cover up the base and give it a finished look, and also it would help you place this on an even surface without it being any wobbly. I've made one and show you how to make another one. First thing, you have to place the ring on a flat surface, and then again with the help of a molded clay you need to make a ring, and it should be a little thick because it need to not just stick to the coconut shell, but it should also hold firmly the ring that I'm using here. So apply a good amount of Fevicol here and place this molded clay on the Fevicol, and without applying any Fevicol, place the ring on that Fevicol and get an impression. You've got to keep this bowl coconut shell on the floor and see to it that it is stable and in the center, and then remove the ring, apply the Fevicol, and then stick to the surface of the Fevicol firmly and smoothen it with the help of water both inside and outside of the shell, and allow this to dry completely before you proceed to the next procedure. Now I'm taking the molded clay here and making a few clay elements here. Again, I would make use of a talcum powder, and with the help of a roller pin I'm going to flatten the molded clay, and then with the help of the clay cutter, whatever design and elements that you want to add, you can take out of these clay cutters, and if you do not have a clay cutter, you can make use of this homemade clay cutters. Now this is something that I've made use of. This was actually an eraser which my daughter was using, which I've made use of and made the leaves here. I've also made a few butterflies here in two different sizes. To make the veins of the leaf, you can make use of the paper cutter or any tool that is available at your end. Now time to stick all of these randomly on the coconut shell, and now here there is no set rule. You can place them as per your wish, and see to it the uneven surface which is there on top are covered with these elements that you're adding. Now to give a little 3D effect to these elements that I'm adding, I'm actually not sticking them flat on to the shell. There are a little edges which are actually lifted, and it has come out of the shell and all that, so it gives you a little 3D effect to your whole pattern that you've created here. Now allow this to dry completely before you start painting. Again, here I'm using the same Persian blue color to paint the outside of the shell, but for the inside I'm not using any color because this you can use in multiple ways. Actually, you can melt the wax inside this, and it can be used as a candle. It can be used to keep a small succulent plant. Since it's an organic bowl, you can directly put the soil inside the bowl. You can also use it you can keep some toffees inside this if you have kids coming home. So there are multiple ways in which you can use this multi-purpose bowl that I'm making here. So isn't this a very useful way of recycling or reusing the coconut shells instead of throwing them away? I'm sure you people will definitely try this craft that I'm doing here. Okay, in the meanwhile, I've colored the base and the top edge of it in again the burnt sienna color, and the leaves in the leaf green color, and the flowers in the orange, and the butterfly in the yellow color. Once the colors dries up completely, you can add any other extra elements if you want to. Now here again I'm using the silver powder to just give that little shine on that blue color. Unlike how I did before, here I am using only the tip of my finger to give it that very shiny effect from outside of this bowl. I'm adding a little stone to the center of the flowers, and I'm using the 3D outliner to just highlight the butterfly a little more. That's it. Our third and final coconut shell craft is all ready. Now I've made use of all these three coconut shell DIY craft in creating a small corner this Ganesh Chaturti. Let's have a look. Hey guys, I hope you've liked this coconut shell craft ideas that I've created here and made this beautiful setup for Ganesh Chaturthi. If you've not subscribed to my channel, you know the drill. Do it right away, and do not forget to hit the bell icon for further notifications. Leave your thoughts in the comment section below. See you all soon in my next video. Till then, you all have a great festival season. Wish you all a very happy Ganesh Chaturthi. Bye bye.